Hi, my name's Aaron Curry, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 ways that property puts money in your pocket and the 3 that pay you forever. I'm also going to be sharing with you the profit lever that only pays you once, and why if you focus on that primarily, like many of you will be doing in the 2021 booming property market, it's going to trip you up and make you fall over. And why if you continue to focus on it as your primary goal, you're never going to grow the kind of portfolio that you want to grow. Now, this is the 3rd video in a series of videos where I'm teaching you about investing in buy-to-let, family-let properties. In the first video in the series, if you've not watched it, by the way, there's a link somewhere around the video. Go click on it right now and go back and watch the first video in the series, because in the first video, I share with you what is going on in the current marketplace right now, in the property market right now, and most importantly, the 3 most profitable towns and cities to buy your buy-to-let properties in right now, and the 3 towns and cities you absolutely categorically need to avoid. So if you haven't watched that video, go grab it right now and watch that before you watch this one. In the second video in this series, I shared with you the golden rules so that you buy the right properties on the right streets in the right towns and cities to the right rules. And I shared those with you in detail. And I also shared that they will make you, instead of making you £2,000 a month from a family-let investment, you can make £7,000, £8,000 a month from the very same investment if you buy the right ones and not by putting them on Airbnb and Booking.com. I'm talking about running them just as buy-to-let properties, but quadrupling your returns. And if you're thinking of having 10 properties, by the way, that's the equivalent of earning $20,000 a year or $80,000 a year, which I'm sure you would agree is a life-changing amount. So if you didn't watch video number 2, again, pause this video right now and go back and watch that second video first before you continue to watch this video. The other reason I'm recommending you go watch those first 2 videos if you haven't is they're foundational to this one. It's the mesh of all 3 coming together that will build you a world-class property portfolio. They can't be taken in isolation. So go back and watch those 2. They'll give you the foundations, and then what I'm about to share with you will make far more sense. So, assuming you've gone and done that, let's get stuck into this video. What do I want to share with you on this video? Well, like I said, there are 4 profit levers in property. Most people focus on 1, maximum 2, and that's the mistake that they make. So one of those profit levers, for example, is cash flow. You saw in video 2, I shared lots of examples with you. If you buy the right houses in the right area, you know, your investment doesn't need to be a big investment. It might be £35,000 or £40,000 of your money that you're putting down total to get a property, and those properties can be making you £2,000 to £3,000 per annum of cash flow profit. That is profit lever number 1. So write that down: cash flow profit. Okay, and what you want to do obviously is optimize your cash flow profit. And how many times does that pay you? Well, it pays you again and again and again, doesn't it? If it creates you cash flow this year, it will create you cash flow next year, the year after, the decades. The other way to make sure you've got great cash flow and great profits from cash flow is to follow the rules I talked about in video 2. You need to make sure there's a really great demand for your properties. Because if there's a massive demand for them, you can comfortably put the rents up each year, 3 to 5% a year. I've done that every year for my own portfolio for the last 2 decades. I do it for our done-for-you clients consistently over more than 1,000 properties. And people don't move out for the sake of £30 a month or £40 a month. It's too expensive to get a van versus paying for that increase. You need to do it ethically. You need to do it in the right way. You need to manage it with them. They need to know it's coming. But that will continue to increase that cash flow as the years and the decades go on, okay? So profit lever number 1 must be at the table: great cash flow coming in, okay? What's the second profit lever to think about? Well, the second profit lever is discount. Discount. When I first started out investing in buy-to-lets, it's the only thing I focused on, and it was ridiculous. If it didn't have a discount, I wasn't buying it. How many times does a discount pay you? Once. If you buy a house that's worth $100,000 and you buy it for $90,000 and that's a 10% discount, it pays you 1 time. Now, I like being paid. So getting paid that one time is a pretty cool thing, don't get me wrong. But right now we're in a booming marketplace. Right now the market is going crazy, and right now it's a lot tougher to hang out for discount. You know, I'll teach you to shop with discount, I'll teach you to look for it, but by the time you've delayed, I've got clients who have waited to get a 10% discount and the market's gone up 5 or 6% in the meantime. So then they're getting a 10% discount, but it's gone up 6%. So it's like they only got a 4% discount. They may as well have saved the hassle and saved the time and bought for 4% discount 6 months ago. Do you get my point? So hanging out for discount right now is not what I personally would do. But the main reason is it only pays me once. It's not paying me forever. So if I miss out on 3 or 4% of discount, in the scheme of things, it's not crucial. I like it, as I say, but it's absolutely not crucial. It's not the thing you want to be holding out for right now. So what do you want to hold out for? Well, it's the other two profit levers. So we've got the first one, which is cash flow. Hopefully you've written this down. The second one is buying at discount, but it only pays you once. What's the third profit lever? It's capital growth. And we covered this in the second video, didn't we? How do we make sure we get great capital growth? We make sure we get the national average. The national average at 7.9% a year. And shortly I'll put another graph up and I'll show you this. So as long as we catch that national average, as long as we're riding that wave, we're going to get pretty great results. But you can't ride that wave unless you buy to the rules that we covered in video number 2. But let's assume we're then riding that wave. You know, I've used those rules to buy over 200 properties for my own portfolio. I've used those rules over the last 12, 13 years nearly now to buy over 1,000 properties, over 1,300 now and counting, for our investor partners that we work with as well on our done-for-you service. And we're using those rules right now to buy 30 to 40 properties a month for our done-for-you clients, buying in this marketplace right now today that I'm talking to you about. That's how I've got the expertise that I've got in the current marketplace we're buying right now. So I know what's going on at the coalface. So when you understand that, and you understand how important capital growth is as your third profit lever, you'll hang on to and make sure you buy the properties where you're going to get that growth. Why is the growth and the cash flow so important? It's for the fourth profit lever. And many of you, if you've bought the wrong houses, you might be saying, I can't refinance my house right now, Aaron. The bank won't lend me the money, the property's gone up in value, but they won't lend me enough. They're doing stress tests or something, and they're saying I can't borrow enough. The fourth profit lever is being able to refinance your property. It's refinancing. When your property goes up in value, provided you have put the rents up, you can go back to the bank and say, hey bank, my property's gone up in value, I've got increased rents to pay for an increased mortgage, can I borrow 75% of the new value please? It's worth 120 now, not 100. Can I borrow 90 instead of 75? And the banks will go, of course you can, Aaron. You've got extra rents to pay the extra costs, pay off the old mortgage, 75, and here's an extra 15 in that example that you've just released back into your pocket. Off you go, Aaron, no problem. Now, I'm not covering tax in this video. That release, though, is tax-free. It's tax-free money in your pocket that the bank have just given to you that's been paid for by somebody else. So now, with this fourth profit lever, you're able to release money back out. If you're in growth phase, let's say you start with 3 houses, but the goal's to get to 9 or 10. If you're in growth phase, you'll refinance those 3, you'll release a bit of money from each, and you'll buy a 4th. Who paid for the 4th house? Not you. Not another single penny out of your savings, not another single penny from anything you've had to put together yourself. The 3 houses you already bought paid for the 4th one. In effect, your tenants did, didn't they? Who pays for the 5th house when you refinance the 4 and get the 5th? Everybody else. Who pays for the 6th? The 7th? They're all free to you, totally free as a reward because you got started. You've got to start right now. And then you get all these 4 profit levers at the table if you buy the right houses, in the right areas, on the right streets, to the right rules. You've got to follow everything I'm putting together and amalgamate it for those 4 profit levers. If you miss out on just one of those levers, one of those forever levers, by the way, how many years does refinancing pay you? How many years does capital growth go on? Forever. Buy at discount, it pays you once. Cash flow, asset growth, it going up in value, being able to refinance, pays you forever. Now, the final bit I'm going to teach you here that just links in with all of this is good debt and bad debt. Because people say refinancing, not sure, I want to get more debt. I'm not sure about that, Aaron. I'm like, okay, so you've been brought up, have you, just like I was? You've been brought up as a saver. You believe that saving is good and debt is bad. Is that how you were brought up? And you say, yeah, that's how I was brought up. And I say, great. You need to thank your parents for that because that was great learning. But the challenge is you've been brought up as a saver. Savers think about things certain ways. Investors think about them differently. You say, what do you mean? I say, well, a saver thinks debt is bad. All debt is bad. They want to pay it down. An investor understands the difference. So what's an investor say? Well, an investor says there's good debt and bad debt. A bad debt is something you have to pay regardless of whether you use it or not. So if I have a mortgage on my house or you have a mortgage on your house and you go on a holiday for a couple of weeks, you've still got to pay the mortgage on your house. Even though you don't use it, that's a bad debt. If you've got a car loan, you don't even drive the car this week, you've still got to pay the car loan. That's a bad debt. Credit cards, bad debt. Overdrafts, bad debt. So what's a good debt? What's the definition of that? Well, here's the definition. Number one, somebody else pays for it, not you. In the property world, that is your tenant. And it's got a second definition. It makes you money on top. Write it down. Somebody else pays for it, not me, and it makes me money on top. I've got a question for you. If somebody else is paying for it, not you, and it makes you money on top, how much debt would you like? And I do this on my Zoom trainings, for example, and I get words like millions, or as much as possible, or an infinite amount. And that's the answer, isn't it? You'd like as much as you can possibly get because someone else is paying for it, not you, and it makes you money on top. And if, and only if, you've bought to my other rules I shared with you, you'll never need to put another penny into them. And if, and only if, you buy to the rules that I've shared with you, you'll be buying on the right street, so you're getting all of the profit levers long term. So I'm hoping this is making sense. I'm hoping this is sinking in. What I want to do is just remind you how the market goes up and how this refinancing works. And just let me show you some example deals that we've got for ourselves and for our clients, just to get you to really grasp this and see this in real life. So let's throw up on the screen the average house price growth since 1968. Okay? You can see here that the average property in the UK back in 1968 worth less than or around £3,500. And then you fast forward 50 years and that same average property is worth over £250,000. And the trouble is, as human beings, we have short memories. So when the market's booming, we think it's always going to boom. And when the market's flat, we think it's always going to be flat. And what I want you to get is, over time, on average, last 90 years, land registry data, not numbers I've made up, land registry data, it's gone up at 7.9% per annum. And as long as you're getting that national average, you're in a really, really cool place. So let's look at a couple of example properties, as I said, and look and dive into the details. So here's an example property that we bought, which is Wales Beach in Crawley, okay? Now, when we bought this property back in 2008, this particular property was valued at £205,000. We bought it with a discount, but remember, that's not the important lever. We bought it with a discount, £157,500. We got a mortgage of £118,000, and the money we needed to put into the deal was £45,000. Deposit, solicitors, costs, etc. What happened to that property over a 10-year period? Well, 10 years later, if I throw up the slide, you can see that property is worth £320,000. I'm not even saying it's gone up and doubled in 8 years or anything like that. I'm saying it's gone up about 50% over that 10 years. But what are we able to do? We're able to go back to the bank and say, I've put my rents up every year, can I borrow 75% of the current value? And the bank say, of course you can, Aaron, no problem. So we borrowed £240,000 that you can see on the screen now. Our old mortgage was £118,000, so we pay that off, and we've got £122,000 we've been able to release that's back in our bank account. We can use that to buy more properties, or we can use that to have a holiday, or go away and have a trip of a lifetime, or quit our jobs and live off it, just off one house, this is. So we release £122,000. Well, what else did we get from this property? Well, this property made us £400 a month of rental profit, times 12 months is £4,800 a year. That's £48,000 of rental profit over a 10-year period. Now, that's higher than the normal because it's a bit more expensive house. But in total, we've now got total cash and equity of £170,000 from this one single property. And on top of that, the property's got equity of £80,000 still in it. So in fact, our total cash and equity over the last 10 years is £250,000 from one single property. Or I'll put that another way. You put 45 grand in, you got it all back out, and you were left with £205,000 in your pocket and now an infinite return on investment. If we were in an event room right now and I said, raise your hand if you're impressed with that, or raise your hand if you'd like one of those, your hands would be shooting up. The right house, on the right street, to the right rules, in the right town and city. You buy the right house, these are the results you get. Let's look at a second example. Let me throw that up on the screen for you. So this second example might be considered a more or a less exciting property. You know, this is a 3-bed ex-council house in Northampton, Bulwell Green. Bought in 2011, valuation 85,000, bought for 70,000. Mortgage on it, 52,000. Money needed, cash in the deal. There wasn't stamp duty back then. It would have been a couple of thousand more. Cash in the deal, £23,000. What happens after just 7 years with this property? 7 years, it's worth £140,000. We borrow 75% of the new value. That fourth profit lever, refinancing, we borrow 75%. We've now got a property worth £140,000 with a mortgage of £105,000. We pay off the old mortgage. That puts £53,000 in our bank account. On top of that £53,000, we've got £200 a month times 12 months is 2,400 times 7 years. We've got about 14,000 of rental profit. So when you add together the release and the rental profit, the money in your bank account is about £67,000. On top of that, you've still got equity in the property, that equity of £35,000. So in total, your cash and equity is now £106,000 of cash and equity. 106,000. You put 20-odd thousand in, you've got 106,000 out. Or put another way, you've got your 20-odd thousand back out, and you've now got £83,000 worth of cash and equity profit and an infinite return for the rest of your life on a end-terraced council house in Northampton. I'm going to show you one final example. Let's take a property in Ipswich, I think this property is. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Ipswich, Kipling Road. Valued at 105,000, purchased for 89, mortgage 66, money needed to buy 27,000. What happens to this property over time? Just 7 years later, about 6.5 actually, 2019, it's valued at 157,000. We refinance it, 75% of the new value. We pay off the old mortgage. We've got £53,000 in our pocket. And we've got 7 years of rental profit again at £200 a month is £14,000. I know I'm going a bit quicker. You can pause and look at the numbers for yourself. But here we've got £67,000 of cash in your pocket from this investment, from one house. £38,000 of equity. That's total cash and equity of £105,000 from one house. Your return on investment in just 6.5 years. You've quadrupled your money in just 6.5 years. Who would like that? Or put another way, you've got your £27,000 back out and you've made £78,000 of profit and you've got an infinite return on investment for the rest of your life. Again, by show of hands, put your hands up high. Who would like one of those? Imagine if you just went out and bought 3 of those in the next 12 months. If you just bought 5 of those in the next 12 months. Right now, the property market is booming. Right now, you can get on this wave and ride the wave more quickly in the current property market. But it's got to start now. You've got to take action and get in the market right now to maximize the opportunity and maximize the returns from all 4 of the profit levers. And when you get in, don't worry so much about discount right now. Worry about the golden rules. So you buy for cash flow, you buy for asset growth, and you buy for that equity release that allows you to build a portfolio. Remember what I said. If you just buy for cash flow and your property, you're never able to release from it. So you buy your 3 houses, you've still got your 3 houses in 10 years' time, making you £2,500 each. Well, you're on £7,500 a year. from that example with those 3 houses. But if those 3 houses are going up in value, you can release and buy more, release and buy more. You buy with 3, in 10 years' time, even if you do this straightforward with no discount whatsoever, guess where you get to? You triple what you got. So in 10 years, you've now got 9 of these properties and you're able to release from them. The releases give you about 3 times as much profit, 3 times as much money out as the cash flow per property. So you've got 9 houses now with 8 grand each. You're on 70 or 80,000 pounds a year as opposed to 7, 10, 15,000 pound a year. I've got a question for you. Which would you rather have in 10 years' time? 7 to 15 grand, you'd be pleased. Or 80,000, 70 to 80,000, you'd be over the moon. It's life-changing amounts because you bought the right houses. So when you do these 4 things, your portfolio is 4 times more profitable. So it's really simple, isn't it? You just need to follow what I've shown you. You need to step by step, follow my step-by-step system, and you can do this. So what's the challenge? The challenge is that doing it whilst juggling a busy job, whilst juggling maybe 2 jobs in your household, whilst juggling the kids, whilst juggling life in general, becomes a lot more difficult. You know, are you going to get this done? Are you going to get 3 or 5 bought in this window of opportunity we've got right now? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite you to a webinar where we can go even deeper on this and I really help you get a grip of this and get this done. I'm running this webinar on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Put that in your diary right now, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And let me throw a slide up to show you what I'm going to be covering. I'm going to first of all be covering how you can build a £70,000 per annum profit portfolio in just 10 years without giving up your evenings and weekends to buy, refurbish and manage your portfolio. I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can do that. And by the way, in 15 years, it could be £130,000 to £150,000 per annum. And these are with my conservative figures. I know this is mind-blowing. Come to the webinar, I'll show you step by step. So you can confidently do this, I'll show you how. Secondly, I'm going to show you how a city consultant working 60 hours a week. So if you tell me you're busy, I get you're busy, but other people like you can do this too. Bought 11 properties in just 4 years without sacrificing family time or his social life. And I'll show you the simple way you can do it too. Thirdly, I'm going to show you how to use my 21-year battle-tested buy-to-let blueprint to buy the right houses so your profit jumps from that £2,000 to £8,000 per property per annum without renting the property by the room or by the night. And finally, I'll teach you and show you the easy step system that my team uses to buy 400 to 500 high profit houses a year, and how you can use that exact same system to buy 3, 5 or even more houses in the next 12 months with none of your own time. So to register for this Wednesday night's webinar, there'll be a link somewhere around this video. Click on that link right now, lock this in your diary, book it out, 8 p.m. this Wednesday night, and I look forward to helping you explode your investing, take this to the next level, get rid of your fears, get rid of the things that are holding you back, give you the confidence to step forward and make this the year that it actually happens. So join me on Wednesday night. Bottom line, invest with knowledge, invest with confidence, create financial freedom. I'll see you Wednesday night. Thanks a lot.